Oh, all right. Back again. Hearing me okay? Y'all hearing me? Thumbs up. Okay, good. All right, we'll give a few minutes for people to come in. Anybody got any questions so far? All right, so you can have the first few minutes if you still need to work on that getting started in the Alex. So go ahead and do that if you want. And then in a few minutes, once I'm sure we start getting people coming in, I'll start covering a little thing. I'm just going to cover a little bit of stuff tonight.
Hello.
Just to get her feet wet.
Huh? Girl, you just had a hamburger. Oh, you didn't eat a hamburger, did you? Why not? Oh, you got to wait till we get home. That's it. Come on. Hmm? Huh?
And remember, your mic will turn on. It's sound. So just keep in mind that if you got something going on, everybody can hear it. All right, so Zoom user, you got I don't see a name on there. You're gonna have to tell me what your name is because I forgot. I remember you were here earlier, but you gotta let me know. Okay, so this is the Math 120. This is the credit bearing course. So if you go over here to modules, let me share my screen so you can see this. So if you go over here, there's a bunch of junk here at the top that the school puts in. This is the addendum schedule. I'm going to go over that because that's all the basic rules and such. And also down here, this is the what I use my lecture material. There's also a text back and Alex if you want that, but this is what I'll be going over when I go over stuff. It's right there. There's also a link to it in the addendum. So I'm just going to give you a few minutes at the beginning to, if you want to go through and set up your Alex. So if you click there, and it'll just guide you through. You got to sign up, and then you got to click on a bunch of stuff, and you got to take a knowledge check. And just keep in mind, you got to do that before you can get in and do any assignments. And it'll take about 45 minutes to do that. So I can give you a little bit of time if you want to do the initial setup. And then if you want to work while I'm going over the material, you can do that, because the material is I got videos for everything. And I'm going to continue to do the roster here. And remember, you want your camera on when I do the attendance. All right, let's see. All right, so I'm going to do attendance. So remember, have your camera on, because you're going to need to have that to do your tests and everything else. So Okay, so anybody got any questions? I'm going to go through that, my addendum, just give you a quick breakdown. That's the main document that the course follows date wise and rule wise. So if you go over here in modules, you click right there and then you'll open up and that's what you'll have right there. Okay. And this is all the rules. So this is just the information about when we meet, contact information. You'll be able to see my schedule there if you want to find me, and then little teacher humor because you know everything is in the addendum, and I don't mind pointing it out to you. I just have to kind of officially go through it because this is the contract for the course. Essentially, this is what's expected. All right, so the main thing is the Payson guide. So at every one of these dates, we will cover something in the course. Like for today, it's just orientation, and we'll look at a little bit of we'll look at 2.1 just to kind of get it out of the way. And these blue things are links to videos. So if you miss something, you can come in and click on the link and see what was covered or what will be covered. Now, notice that throughout we have, like for example, before the 5th or at the 5th, we're going to have covered all this material. We'll have a review day, and you're going to have a little review in there. There's a path element associated with each one of these little sections. So it's a good idea to keep up. And if you start within 2 days of it being covered in class, you're not going to leave yourself a whole bunch of stuff to do at the end. Okay. And then also, too, you can bring back questions for the next time by doing that. And so we're looking at a test there on the 5th. Then we'll get chapter 3 going. We'll have a chapter 3 test. We'll look at a little bit of chapter 10, and then we'll have a midterm that's on everything up above. All right. And then I'm going to do the first test probably on Zoom. And then after that, the Respondus browser. I'm going to have a little verification quiz, probably 2 of them. Probably add another one in there that'll pretty much show you how to use the Respondus. You got to learn how to use the Respondus and get it set up on your computer in order to take the tests. So that little thing is going to allow us to do that, and I'll have that set up by Thursday, and probably I'll have a second one as well. So then we have the midterm right around on the 3rd, and then we'll cover the rest of the chapter 10, and then we'll have a test on that chapter. Then we'll get into the last chapter, and then we'll have a test on that. There's going to be another little test in there, and I'll throw that one in to have 5 tests. I'll explain it as we get closer. And that 5th test allows me to be able to drop one, and then that means that, you know, if you have a bad day, you don't have to be so concerned about it. Now, the bad part of this, all right, okay, yeah, Kindle, thanks. I remember now. But I can say this, sometimes when I'm busy, I just can't remember little details. Anyway, so this is all going to be done by pretty much the end of November. The final exam will be on the 4th. Oops, and then this should be actually 6 because we're in evening class. 6 to 8 p.m. And it's going to be on Respondus probably. I may set up HonorLock, but HonorLock works a little bit better, I think. But I don't know if I'll be able to set it up for this course. And holiday schedule. We don't get off Labor Day because this is a Tuesday. Labor Day is on Monday, but we get off 1 day for fall break and 1 day for Thanksgiving. Other than that, we will meet unless something happens that we're not able to do so, like school closure. But the thing is with school closure, if they close the school and it's not a huge weather issue, we can still have class here. Because last year, I had like 2 or 3 classes canceled at my class at City Park for one thing or another. Like there was a fire one time across the street, and another time there was a chemical spill, and then it was strange. So we don't have to deal with that kind of thing here. But um, if there's a severe weather issue, then I'm sure that they would cancel, and then we have to readjust the schedule. So the way that everything. Oops, I got to fix that real quick. I copied the wrong one for that one little section. So I'll fix that right now. The percentages aren't right. It's the percentages for the O2O class I got there. So I want to put the right one over there. So the way it works is we got 65% is before the final exam. The final exam is 35%. All right. Now, the other part, the 65%, the learning path is 10%. So a lot of students, I don't say a lot, some students, they get hung up on the learning path because they're not able to keep up with it because they're busy. They got family and they got work and, all these things. So that 10% is not a deal breaker, but you got tests that you got to take. And that's the ones that you need to know about. And so the test preps prepare you for the tests, or my tests in particular. My tests are 25%. And then the midterm, which is really departmental, is 25%. And that's your 65%. And then 35% final exam. And keep in mind here, because I can't just open up stuff willy-nilly if we're not doing it on time. I got procedures that are written out here on how to do it, because if you miss a test, I'm not going to let you take a 0 as long if you're able to continue on, because you got to get with the pace of the class. And if you do that, then at the end, you can make up that missing test. But the thing that's important is to realize that my little tests are not all that important. It's the midterm and the final exam that make up 65% total. And then the other 35% comes from the ALEKS Learning Path, the test preps in the ALEKS, and then the tests. Because if you also see, since you got this calendar here, if you see something and you're coming up and say, well, I got to go and get my arm worked on, I got to have an operation on my arm, whatever it is, let me know ahead of time and we'll try to work something out so that you can take it, at a reasonable, time beforehand that I can work out. Because if you come to me afterwards, it's not, you're not going to be able to just assume that I'm going to be able to help you get straight. So that's why I do it at the end. So if you miss, so make sure you're ready. If you're ready for a test and you got a conflict, please let me know. I'll work it out with you. So again, we only get fall break and Thanksgiving off. Labor Day does not affect us, but that is a holiday if you got Monday classes. This is where you can get the text that I go over. That's my notes. And you can also use the textbook, and Alex has got some good stuff in it. All right, and then there's other little stuff in here. So at the end, by the Friday after final exams, like the 6th of December, I have to have my grades in. So the grades in Canvas will be accurate at that time, and then you can just use the 10-point grading scale to figure out what you got. So 90s is 100, 80s. I'm sorry, 90s is an A, 80s is a B, 70s is a C, D is in the 60s, and below that is an F. After the 7th day, I'm sorry, the 14th day, which is the 3rd, if you've not participated sufficiently, I can drop you. But after that, I can't drop you, and it's up to you. You're in it for at least a W, and then you can go all the way to the what day is it? 11/6, November 6th. At that point, if you're not dropped and you're not, active in the class, or you don't think you're going to be able to make it, you're in it for a grade after that point. So I wanted to make sure you understood that, because every semester I have students that seem like they just stop showing up, through the class, and then they don't drop, and then that's not good for either one of us. And as I said, the final exam is on the 4th of December, 6 to 8 p.m. So make sure you're in there participating, because the 14th day is important. They push us to drop people that aren't participating. Another reason why I've got that upload your ID, and I'm going to have one in here Thursday, is just for verification that the person is there. During the summer, there was a student that I had that was basically using somebody else's ID, and so um, since it involved financial aid, the FBI got involved, and I turned over the information that I had on them, because I had, um, you know, knew what they looked like and all that. So they're investigating that. So that's why we got these verifications and the photo ID stuff. Make sure who our people say they are, and make sure they're really in the class to complete it. All right. Anybody got any questions?
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Will you be recording this just in case, like when you?
Yes. Okay. And like I said, is I'm recording them. And if you go in through Canvas, there shouldn't be a password. So make sure. But if you want, you can use the videos here. These are older videos for each one of the sections. Okay.
Okay.
Either one. But what often happens is for some reason, I don't know where students are trying to get to the videos at in Zoom, but they'll say, well, what's the password? Well, there is no password. It's a matter of, if you go through Canvas Zoom, you should be able to go directly. It puts that password in there for you, because I don't know what that password is. I got to go and find out, and you can find it out too, like I said, it is. But if you click through Canvas Zoom, there should not be any need to put in a password. It puts it in for you. So, Timmy, you got a question?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Do you offer tutor?
What do you mean offering tutoring? I mean, I've got office hours like before the 5:30 class if you want to come by and do that. But I mean, I don't call that tutoring. I call that office hours.
Well,
We have a tutoring lab over in the main campus. You also have tutoring inside of here. As a matter of fact, I might ought to put that over here, because I don't think it's in here. You got to put every one of these things in there. Let me put that in there. now that you're asking about it. So if you're interested in the virtual tutoring, you can do this. Like I said, you can drop by office hours.
Yeah, 'cause I get off of work at 5 o'clock, and
And
I'll
then
make it.
at the City Park campus, they also have tutoring. They have it on the West Bank too. But let's see here. Net tutor, net tutor, net tutor. It's supposed to be in here. There it is. They put it up there. So this right here, the good thing about net tutor is I think it's more or less 24/7. So I'm going to put that in there in case you want it.
Thank you.
So like I said, you can do that. It's a neat little system. You go in there. You can either drop off a question or you can get in a line and kind of wait for a tutor. I don't know that it's necessarily always a line, but that's a good one to use.
Did you say the book was inside of Alex?
Yeah, there's a book inside of Alex. I don't generally use that book. I use what I'm going to go over here. This is my personal notes. But there's a book inside of Alex. Let's see if I can show you. It already took me out of it. Let's go back over there. I'll show you a book. All right. So once you go in, let's see. It looks a little bit different for a student. Let's see. For me, it's right there as I go in, but let's see where the student book is at. So if you go in here and you go to textbook, it opens up just like, and some days I will use this maybe to get problems to go over, but it's a textbook that Alex is based upon. So for example, like today, we'll go over this kind of stuff. So if you want to, like I said, let's say you go over it with me and it's like you're still lost and you want to read some more, then you can come over here and look at that. Cause I'm going to go and basically do these 6 things. Define what a set is. Talk about how to write a set. You can use these different methods. So yeah, you got a nice book here. So this is what I was telling you about. Once you get past your knowledge check, you're able to get then and start your path. So I'm going to go over 2.1 today. So afterwards, you got the time you can start that, and it'll lead you through questions. Like I said, it's sort of like homework. They just call it a path. And you got until the 27th to do that. Now, if you miss that, you can still, it doesn't take it out of your path. It's just that it'll put it in the background and it'll give it to you as you start to catch up, because at some point you got to catch up to the path pace, because otherwise you're not going to be able to finish it. So it tries to keep you on target. You don't lose anything ever. So it's just that it goes in the background.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
So after you finish your knowledge test, you could just go straight through and start doing 2.1.
Yeah, after you
2.1?
do the knowledge check, this is which where you'll be at. You might have to do a couple more pop-up things you got to click on, but this is what you want to do. You can also go in and do learn. It's the same thing. That always puts you
Okay.
back in the right spot.
Okay.
So like to start my path, let's just see. So I'm going to talk about this like equal and equivalent sets. So I'll discuss that tonight, and then you can come over here and see if you can do these. And let me just explain to you is if you do this and you do it correctly the first time and you do it 3 times in a row, it bumps you ahead and gives you credit for all 5. So please take your time and make sure they're right, because if you miss, then you got to do all 5 of them. And then if you keep messing up and you're not able to make any progress, it's going to bump you out and make you work on something else. So take your time. Make sure what you put in is right. All right, let's look at the notes and let me just talk about these things, and I'll come back over here and we'll look at one of these. All right. Anybody got anything else? All right. So a set is just a collection of objects that are taken from some bigger fixed universe, we call it. And that's called the universal set, and we call it U. You can think of it sort of like the universe that we live in. Inside the universe, you got planets, you got solar systems, you got quasars, you got black holes, you got galaxies, you got all kinds of things in it. So you could go in there and pull things out and create a collection, like the collection of all the planets in the solar system, or all the red giant stars, that kind of thing, because it all comes out. And the set just contains these objects called elements. So here's an example of a set, what we call a finite set. And this is how we can write this set. It's called the roster method. And so if we list all the elements inside of the set, we open up with a curly brace to identify a set. Open up that curly brace, and then you put your elements in there. Each one of the elements is separated by a comma. A finite set, of course, you're going to have all of them listed, and then you close it. An infinite set would be like this. So we start off with a pattern. We open up our curly brace, and then we're going to put 5, 7, 9, 11, and 13 to kind of establish the pattern. And what is that pattern? You think you could describe what that pattern is? Those are all odd, right? Starting at 5. So that means even though we don't list them on here, we've got 15, 17, 19, and we can just keep on going. But we don't want this thing to get too big. So that's why we just establish the pattern and then put the ... to show that this pattern goes on and on and on. But the roster method just means that we list them out. We don't have to list them all out, because obviously in this case we really can't, because this ... means it is going on forever. So there will always be another odd number. So if we got to 1011, then there's going to be one more after that. 1013, there'll be another one after that. And that's why it would be considered an infinite set, because there's always another one. So here's a little symbol I want you to know about. It looks like a little pitchfork. I tried to make it big here. But that right there, we would just read that as X is an element of A. And then if you put a line through it, a slash, then that just simply reads X is not an element of A. So now, referring back to these two, is this a true statement? Is 5 an element of B? He's right there, isn't he? So we can easily see that this set has a true statement associated with it there, that 5 is an element of B. We can also say that X is not an element of 9 because it stops at 7. Let me show you something else. Is this right here true? There's the little element symbol. Is that true or false? There's B. Is there a 15 in there?
It's true.
No.
It's true. Good. True. It's not physically listed, but we stopped it at 11 because we don't have to write all of them. So we just established the pattern and then put the ... to show that it goes on and on. Let me show you one more. That's true. Let's see. Is 12 an element of A?
No.
No.
No, and that one's real easy to see because it's just 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 in there. So this one is false. So that little symbol, that's the one symbol we got here in the first section. So just remember that it means is an element. Math people, are generally not too literate, so they like to use symbols rather than having to write stuff out. So that's all that means. That little pitchfork means is an element, and if it's got a line through it, then it means is not an element. So if it's got a line through it, then it means is not an element. So listing them all out is what we call the roster form. You can also use a set builder notation, and set builder notation is a little bit of a pain in the neck, but it's real powerful for listing a lot of numbers. So rather than, let's just say we got something like this. Let me come up with a little made up set. Oops. Now I'm going to go ahead and put a comma here, and then at the end I'm going to put 100. All right. Now what this is telling us is we're using that same ... but we're starting off with the even numbers at 2. These are called natural numbers, by the way. I'll just put that right here. This right here is the universal set of natural numbers, because natural numbers are just the counting numbers. And if you see that term, just realize that that's what they're talking about. They don't have anything in between. So there's no pies, no square roots of 2s. There's nothing in between. It's just the whole counting numbers. And in this case, it's just the even ones. All right. But we can also use the set builder notation to write this. And we can do it like this. The set builder notation. Let me explain that a little bit first down here, and then we'll come back to that. Set builder notation looks kind of intimidating, but it's just a way to write out things, especially when you kind of need to be exact when you're talking about numbers. Well, let's just say we want to have this set here. A is equal to, we open up the curly brace, and so we're going to have the description of the set in there. This right here just simply means X such that, meaning that we're going to define what X is. Well, first of all, we're going to say it's a natural number. So that just means the counting numbers. And it's in between, you read these three parts as in between 5 and 8, including the endpoints. All right. So on this right here, we can write it in roster form as such. Because see, it's 5, and then you got a 6, a 7 in between, and it ends in 8. Now you got to watch these, because I know they're going to do this to you, because every book I've ever seen does it. But once you get used to seeing that they got an equal sign over there, then you'll have one that doesn't have an equal sign, and that means it does not include the 4 and 9, but it includes everything in between 4 and 9, which is what? Well, it's 5, 6, 7, and 8. So we can also write B as roster form 5, 6, 7, and 8. Same set as A. It's just written slightly different. So watch that. Make sure you're paying attention to your inequalities on whether there's an equal sign on there. They'll probably even like have some where you got one equal and then the other one's not going to have an equal. So watch out for that. So the way that the set builder works is you got this little standard part here that just reads A is a set in X such that X is a natural number, a counting number, and it's in between 5 and 8, including the endpoints. You can also use it with more of a description, and describing things is another way of representing a set. But you can use the set builder and use it with a description for something that's non-numeric, and is like this. You can say C is a set in X such that X is a human with brown hair. So that way, if our set has 10 people in it that have brown hair, rather than listing them all out, that description just tells us who they are. And then we just go and we look for the people with brown hair. And if we need be, we can put them in the roster form. All right, so let me just talk about equality of sets, and then I'll go back and we'll work on that little problem I was telling you about in the ALEKS. Let me go over there and make sure it doesn't go away, because it'll time out if we don't, not over there working on it, not waiting to go away. All right, we'll come back to that in a minute. Now, equality of sets means that if we have one set, and the ones that I was talking about is A, which is what this one is, and then I rewrote B over here, which is the exact same elements, then those two sets are equal because they got the same elements in them. But here's what you got to watch out for. Order and repetition of elements does not matter as far as increasing the elements in the set. In other words, if we have them in a different order, like say we got this, even though they're not ordered the same, they are the same values. See, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So therefore, we can say here that B is equal to C. All right. Order does not matter as far as what's inside of a set. Repetition doesn't matter. So I wrote this one here earlier, but I wanted to have one where it was just the order for changed. This one's got order changed, and it's got something else. Tell me, how many elements are there in B? There's 4 inside of A, 1, 2, 3, and 4. But how many elements are in B?
6,
6? Where are you
5.
getting 6? All right. But look at this. Those 2 are repeated. So you're only going to count it as one element. All right. Because
What you mean element?
see, each one of these is an element. See, each one of the things in there separated by a comma is an element. We call it an element or a
Mhm.
member. Okay. But if it repeats, we only count it once. We also don't have to be concerned about order. Usually we order the sets because it's easier to tell what's in them and compare them if they're ordered. But order doesn't matter, and neither do repeated elements. So we can say about B and C there that A is equal to B. Now, the cardinal number is just a fancy way of saying how many elements are in the set. All right. How many elements are in the set? So for A, there's 4, and also for B, there's 4 because we don't count the 8 twice. So now we can talk about this thing called equivalence, because if sets are equivalent, and this is what we do, it's like an N of B. You don't generally use the word cardinal number, you just say N of B or the number of elements in B. If we have 2 sets and they both have the same number of elements inside, these are obviously not equal, right? Because you got numbers in this one and you got letters in that one. But how many elements are in A? Well, N of A is equal to 4. And on this one, B has got 4 elements. And since they have the same number of elements, they are equivalent. They are not equal, but they are equivalent. Now, if they're equal, they're also equivalent, but not the other way around, because they can be equivalent, obviously, and not be the exact equal sets. All right, now the last little thing. The empty set or null set. We can actually have a set that has nothing in it. And here's a good example here. The set of immortal people is an example of an empty set. If we went around and found all the people that are going to live forever, and I'm saying here on Earth, then that's going to be an empty set. Now, there are 2 ways to represent an empty set. We can either just open and close the brace, the curly brace, or we can use this symbol, which is like a circle with a line through it. Both of those mean empty set, null set, nothing in it. This is kind of the intuitive way to do it, because if you just open and close without anything in it, it's obviously empty. But this right here is another way. This one's not on the keyboard, so it would be in the ALEKS tool thing that you can use, the tool bar. All right, any questions? I'm going to go over and look at that little problem in ALEKS to just kind of give you a push on using that system. And then I want to make sure I'll tell you before we do that, let me just see if anybody else came in. All right, because I got there was a couple of people in there. I couldn't see who you were. So all right. And I'll tell you the ones that I didn't get. Did Kristen Bearden come in? Tristan Bearden? I didn't see you before. Going. Keosha Brooks out there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, let me see you because I want to get to know people.
I'm here too, Mr. Cruz. I'm just feeding
All
the
right.
baby.
All
Can
right.
you see me?
I'm looking for you. Where are you at? There's a lot of people in this class.
Keosha Brooks. I'm waving at you.
I'm wondering if
Little
oh,
thing.
okay. You're on the second page. Okay. So that's you up there, right? In the pink shirt, laying down.
Yes.
Okay. That I thought maybe that's what because I wasn't 100% sure, but I didn't. Yeah. Okay. I see it now. Did Corey come back? Corey Gatlin? I never did see her this time.
Mr. Cruz, I'm here also.
All right. Well, let me get it one time. Let's looking for Corey. Is Corey in here? And Linda, I didn't. Okay, Linda, I see now. Eugene Hamilton. So Jermaine, did Jermaine come in?
I'm here.
Where are you at? Let me see if I can. Oh, I see you now. Okay. Sheriff, all right, good. We might need you in here. Keep
No.
it safe. I'm just kidding. I can handle discipline in this kind of class. All right. Demaria Jackson. I never did see. Michael Lindoff. Did Michael come in? And I think Bria was here earlier, but I didn't see her this time. Was Bria in here? Bria Petrie? All right. And Dale Russell? Not. So I did pretty good. All right. So let's go over and look at that problem. We'll get out a little bit early tonight. First day tradition. All right. All right. So here's the first thing that comes up in the path. All right. Oh. All right. So we've got this set up here. It's a description. It's saying A is a set of integers greater than 11 and less than 15. Well, for this, I'm going to write that one out in roster form here. I'm going to put it here. So greater than 11, it does not say equal to. So that means it's going to be 12, 13, 14, and it says less than 15. It does not say less than or equal to. So there's only 3 elements in this set, and we're comparing it with this one. All right. Are those 2 sets, do they have the same number of elements in them? This one's got 3,
No.
and this one's got 4. So they're not equivalent. And if they're not equivalent, then they're not equal. So then that means then, why isn't it clicking? Oh, because I'm not hitting start. And not clicking my pop-ups. All I got the first time you do it. So neither equivalent or equal. A is a set of integers greater than 6 and less than 10. So again, there's no equal to mentioned. So I'm going to write it right here so it'd be easy to compare it. So Greater than 6 means it would be 7. And it doesn't say anything about even or odd. It's just all of them. So 7, 8, and 9. And what do you notice about these two sets?
They're both equal and
They
equivalent
both,
to.
yeah, they're equivalent and equal. If they're equal, then they're automatically equivalent, because if they're equal, they got the same elements in there, so they're going to have the same number. Okay. So this one has 45, 46, 47, 48. We don't have to write anything out. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's 4 in this one. They're not the same element, so they're not equal. So what? Equivalent, but not
But
equal.
not equal. Okay.
And then this one's got 3 in it, and this one's got 4. So we got another neither equivalent nor equal. Oh, you know what? It changed that one up here. Let's go back up and do that one. I had done the one that was before you click start. So let's go ahead and do this one real quick. And that'd be where we end up tonight. Because if I click that, it's going to say bomb. And I want to make sure I get it right. So A is a set of even integers greater than 9 and less than 15. So A. So greater than 9. So 10, 12, 14. It says even. So not all of them. And then B is integers greater than 5. So that means 6. And it's not even or odd. It's just all of them. 7, 8. Now, in this one, they happen to be the same number. So this is, I'm glad we went back and did it. So this one is equivalent, but not equal. Because this one's got 3. This one's got 3. And now watch this. If I did everything right, see that? If you get 3 in a row, it bumps you and you're done with this. If you miss one of them, then you're going to be doing all, I think you do all 5 of them. It may just be 4, but always check your work. You saw how long it took me to do that. I went through and double checked. Always do that. Make sure you got another way of looking at it so you can double check what you got. Really, this is not that hard if you just concentrate on it and do it twice, because once you start missing, you'll get frustrated. And this system is easy to make you frustrated. So don't let it do that. All right. So that's enough for tonight. Anybody got any questions? Stick around. Otherwise, I got the roster, and then I'll have some more stuff for you to do. Thursday, I'll have a little verification assignment in there, and that you have to go through the Respondus. So you'd have to install Respondus. And in order to do that, the verification, it checks your ID, and then it checks your face and matches them up. So I'll assign that in there. You don't have to do it in class, but I'll have it. All right. So if you got any questions, stick around. Otherwise, I'll see you Thursday. Okay.
I got a question.
Okay. Hold on. Let me turn on so I can see who I'm talking to. I got the. All right. So who's got the question?
That's me right here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Kendall, right? Is it Kendall
Yeah.
or Kendall?
Either one, Kendall, Kendall.
All right. So what's
So
up?
I got a question. So like with the test or quiz or
Mhm.
whatever, do it have like pictures or something that's gonna pop up?
Well,
Like,
it's going to be these very same kind of problems. The tests will be composed of these problems here. So when you go in to take it with your respond us. You know, you go in and it'll have them show you ID and make sure your face is shown. So you got to make sure you got the camera on and all that. And it'll match up, and then it'll let you go in, and it just looks at you throughout to make sure you're not pulling any funny business. But it'll be
'Cause I know,
questions made out of this kind of problems.
cause I
What's up?
know cause I know some like times when I took tests, I had trouble with like seeing like the images that it'll show, like that I know
Well,
like it asks about. So I
well,
was
in
trying to
this
see.
in this Alex, it works pretty good. You may have done it maybe in like Canvas, maybe. I don't know. I've never had a problem with that on here. Anybody's told me about. So, but yeah, they're all going to be done through this system here, through the Alex system, and it renders pretty well. So, if you ever have any problems where something doesn't show well, you go in and you clear out your history, and then you go back in your browsing history, and that'll fix an awful lot of things if you can do that.
All right.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Anybody got anything else?
Mr.
I'm
Michael?
here. Yes. So, Miss Scott, right?
Yeah,
Kenya,
it's Kaya.
Kaya. Okay.
Yeah, I want to know because since I didn't know some of the questions, I have a lot of modules to do. So before I get to what we did today, I have to finish my modules.
No, it's not your modules. It's in the Alex. You got to finish that knowledge check.
Yeah.
You got to do it in both of them because you won't be able to get to any assignments until you do that knowledge check. I really wish it wasn't that long, but you know,
Oh my
that's
God,
just kind of the way the
it's
system works.
crazy.
But believe me, if you it
It's really
tailors
helpful, to be
okay.
honest.
It tailors the course to what you already know. I mean, that's all I can say. But don't feel bad if you can't answer them because a lot of the questions in the 120 knowledge check are from the course that you would have not taken yet, but you may have gotten in another course, or you may have taken this course
Hmm.
and you learn certain things, but not others. So that's what it's good at doing, is to determining what you need to know. So that way you can concentrate on the things that you don't know more fully.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Okay. Kaya, see you.
I have a question, Mr. Cruz.
Okay.
So is it supposed to start us on like, because when you opened up yours, it started you on like identifying equivalent and equal sets. Like,
Yeah.
is it supposed to start each
Everybody's
one on something different? Like, is it going to start
everybody's
up?
is going to be everybody's is going to be a little bit different because see,
Okay.
I already knew a lot of it, and so I got credit for some things, so it's not putting everything in it. But you know, in theory, you know, you could start out with just talking about where it says, well, name the elements of this set. Like I
Okay.
said, for me, it was a little bit more advanced just because of my knowledge check. I didn't
Okay.
tell it, you know, I did like a
Yeah,
medium
I
knowledge.
just didn't know if I was on the right one because it started me somewhere
No,
else.
everybody's will be a little bit different, but you'll
Okay.
eventually get to this one. You'll
All
eventually
right.
get
Thank
to it.
you.
Hmm. And if you got something, just feel free to ask. I'm going to be here for a few minutes, so I'm not running off yet.
Yeah, I see people leaving. Is it okay to go and finish?
Yeah, it's all right to go. Like I said, we're getting out a little bit early today. First day treat.
See you next time.
Hmm.